periodically. I realized by the end of the day yesterday, many of you had already probably filed your stories on the day, so we'll try and be more responsive during the day to questions you may have about how things are moving. Let me just make a couple of comments, if I will. First of all, we're making progress, albeit it's slow. Yesterday was a long day, obviously, with opening statements, but I want my colleagues, Democrats and Republicans, to feel as though they're having an opportunity to express their views on one of the most important bills any of us will ever consider. And I know that can be frustrating because obviously we want to move along and get a job done as well. But I felt it was important to give people the chance to express their overall views. This morning, we're either considered or finished considering about 8 amendments. Granted, a few of these were ones we agreed on. There are another 20 or so amendments I'm hopeful in the next hour or so we may be able to reach agreement on as well, or the 59 that were offered in the quality protection area, and maybe finish up the rest of these this afternoon. But we're going to plow ahead. One thing I'm not going to do is stop working. We'll work today, we'll work tomorrow, we'll pick up again on Monday, and we'll stay as long as we have to, evenings if we have to finish this markup. Now, obviously, we need some numbers in a few areas, and the Congressional Budget Office will provide those numbers. I happen to be very strong for a public option. I think we need a public option in this bill, and I'm going to do everything I can to see to it that a public option is included. Now, obviously, there are those who express their opposition to that. The reason I'm for it is because it's one certain way to drive down cost, which is obviously the goal we all share. I'm waiting to hear some alternatives, broader alternatives than I've heard so far. I'm delighted to hear we agree on principles of accessibility, quality, and affordability. But it's not enough to state the principles without telling me how you're going to get there. Our bill tells you how to get there. We don't claim perfection. We realize there'll be legitimate questions raised, but we've laid down a plan that achieves those goals. And I'm hopeful that my Republican friends and Mike Enzi and I have a good relationship. We'll offer either counter ideas or embrace the points that we've included in this bill so we can move forward. I lose every single day in my small state. 100 people in Connecticut lose health care every single day. And so when people say we need to wait or slow down or wait until the fall or maybe next year, you tell that to the 100 people today in my state that have lost health care. Tell that to the group tomorrow and the next day and the next day and next week and next month. And that's my small state, not to mention others across the country. So while some may think it's okay to slow down and say no and wait, the American people expect more from us than that. And I'm going to do everything I can to move this process forward, giving people ample opportunity to be heard, to debate, to discuss, not to try and jam things on people, but we're going to continue working every day until we get the job done. Any questions?
What's the line between ample opportunity to be heard and outright delay, consideration of the bill?
You'll know it when you see it. I mean, well, I see it, but I'm trying to be, again, and look, I mean, it's not a question of people hiding it. I read this morning that the answer is to say no. And no is an answer the American people will not accept when it comes to health care. The status quo is, as I've said so many times, is not only unacceptable, it's unsustainable. We have no other choice but to get this job done. And I'm working on a timetable here to get it done. Obviously, I wish Senator Kennedy were here. Had a great chat with him the other day. I don't want to make any predictions, but I'd love to see him come on back and to be working with him on this committee as him chairing the matter. But until he gets back, I'm going to do what he'd do. I'm going to drive this forward every day, keep people here if they have to, ask my colleagues to put in the time. There's none of this I'll see on Tuesday and I'm leaving on Thursday stuff. Again, that Monday and Friday, another 200 people in my state have lost health care. And they're going to wonder why people aren't here working to make sure that is not going to be the case indefinitely.
Senator Dodd, do you think the Republicans who are trying to kill this by stalling?
Well, I wouldn't say trying to kill it, but certainly stalling it is not helping at this point. And again, it's not a question where they're hiding under that. They're publicly stating that's the case. And I think that's regrettable. They can do that. They can try. And my job is to be fair, but also to keep the process moving forward. And that's what I intend to do.
Senator, what's the biggest point of contention from the Republicans? Is it cost or is it just principle?
Well, I wish I knew. I mean, I was delighted to hear that we agree on the principles yesterday, but you got to fill in the blanks now. If you're going to achieve full accessibility, how do you do that? If you're going to deal with quality, how do you do that? If you're going to bring down costs, how do you do that?
Senator Chris Dodd from a short time ago, just outside the meeting room. We take you back to that room now. The Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee continues day 2 of their work on health care legislation. Republican